Chair recognizes Mr. Beer for his opening statement.
Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. For nearly half a century, the Cato Institute has produced original research showing that a freer, more orderly, and more lawful immigration system benefits Americans and protects the rule of law. Congress's mandate is simple: create legal ways for Americans to associate, contract, and trade with people born in other countries. Unfortunately, America's legal immigration system was originally designed a century ago and last updated in 1990. This system has been flawed and failing for decades. But then, starting in January 2017, it faced an assault unlike any in American history. For 4 years, the prior administration relentlessly and often illegally undermined every fundamental aspect of our immigration system. For the first time in modern U.S. history, a president used his authority to ban legal immigration. Visa issuances cut 80%, refugee arrivals down 92%, Afghan allies abandoned to be killed by the Taliban. For the first time since the Refugee Act of 1980, an administration completely unilaterally nullified asylum law to send people back to persecution and torture. As it spent incalculable resources shredding America's immigration system, it never secured the border. December 2020 saw the most Border Patrol arrests for any December going all the way back to the year 2000, and the most successful illegal entries in almost as long. Yet by the end of 2020, the prior administration had gutted much of the immigration enforcement system, too. In December 2020, immigrant detention fell to the lowest levels since the 1990s. ICE removals were at the lowest levels in the history of the agency to that point. Immigration courts finished the fewest cases on record. The current administration pulled the system back from the brink. Legal immigration, obliterated by those 4 years, is finally back. It saved the U.S. tourism industry, rescued countless small businesses from closure, and reopened America for investment again. It saved tens of thousands of American allies from the Taliban. Of course, bringing back a flawed system was never going to be enough. With liberty on the retreat around the world, more displaced people are migrating than ever. And with U.S. job openings at record highs, more people are choosing America as their destination. The administration took dramatic steps to respond to this challenge, forcibly removing more immigrants than any year since 2001. It even removed a higher share of border crossers during its first 2 years in office than the prior administration did in its last 2 years in office. But those efforts did not show results. And to its credit, it changed its tactics and launched pilot programs that allowed some people the ability to apply to enter legally. These parole programs have dramatically reduced illegal immigration by those eligible for them. They have virtually eliminated illegal immigration by Haitians and Cubans. This is not enough. And I'm sure my colleagues are saying, where's the David Beer that spent the last 3 years criticizing this administration? And that's fair. I'll take that criticism. But what I won't take is criticism of this administration's efforts to rebuild this system from the very people who spent 4 years undermining every aspect of that system. It would be laughable if they simply stopped at ripping the system apart. But instead, they said, you know what these immigration laws should really be used for? The torment of little kids. They turned down prosecuting sex offenders just so that they could make sure the last image a child saw of his mother was her being dragged away by a Border Patrol agent. We can do better. We can have a humane and orderly immigration system. But we need to start with the premise that people are not the problem. People are the ultimate resource. The problem is the illegality, the chaos, the disorder. But we can fix those things with a better system. So sure, let's debate the particulars, but let them come legally. Thank you.